that we can kind of predict. The Yunara Annie, they've been permabanned throughout the series. The Pantheon will remain as that final ban. One thing to note, Trundle is up for, I believe, the first time this series, so definitely could be a lock-in. But the Nico as well.
All right, so we would get Niket's Nico, stealing it away a little bit from Jwei, but obviously something that he's very willing to go for. But it's showing a little bit of how important the support has been in both teams' potentials in this series. But there are some big power picks left over. You can only hold the floodgates for so long. JiaQi will end up getting that Kai'Sa.
Will get his kind of signature champion. I know that's kind of the case for a lot of players here in the LPL.
It's a staple in the LPL.
you know, it's kind of a part of the regimen that you learn, going through the LPL system.
It's the Akali check for mid laners. Like if you can't play Akali in the LPL, you can't be a mid laner. Exactly. Well, it's the same for Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and I think that we're gonna get a chance to see why maybe in this game from JiaQi. He's been incredible on this champion, has had a ton of pop-off performances, even going back to last split on RNG. But the Ahri is actually going to be the accompanying piece. And speak of the Akali, you spoke it into existence, Mazel. It's Doinb's Akali.
Doinb's Akali. What a weird setup in this situation, but I'm here for it. Give him some carry. He's been popping off too, silently. And they're going to get the Jarvan that also had been banned away in previous games for Naiyou. So the mid-jungle combo is exactly what NIP are cooking with this time around. We'll see what that answer for FPX in the jungle is going to be for Jwei.
I really love this start to the draft for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Not because I think it fits their playstyle perfectly, but because it says, Doinb's our guy. He is the franchise player. He's who we brought in to really be the main character, the world champ difference, and he's going to get the chance to show it. Akali is a massive pick here, but you want to talk about, up-and-coming stars getting playmaking tools. No more fancy playmaker in the meta right now than Bard, and alongside an Ahri and a Kai'Sa for dive, this comp is going to be very scary.
God, I think the Bard is just so lethal in so many situations. I will say also, I think Jwei has had some incredibly impactful moments on the Bard itself this split alone, and it just upends what NIP want to do, right? You land a Tempered Fate, it completely derails that engage comp that NIP is trying to pull off. Now in the second phase, we get the Senna ban and the Trundle ban as well from the respective sides.
I think it's especially relevant because look at all the AoE that NIP have. Like, you can disengage a Nico Pop Blossom as long as you're not hit by it. You can like, if Akali goes into Shroud and you need to make sure that, she's vulnerable, you can just Bard ult the Shroud. Like, there are so many different outplay tools here that create, AoE counterplay from Jwei, and we know we can trust him in terms of making those plays. He's done so all year long. 80 carry bans coming in from FPX, Tristana, and Senna taken off the board again, taking options away from Leave to carry the game. That's what they are afraid of. Lee Sin and Trundle, early game bruisers that want to get a lot of priority. Really the last remaining comfort picks for Jwei. We will see what they want to go for. There are a lot of things in the meta. You don't talk about hovers, and so I'm not going to worry too much, but there are a lot of things that are on the table.
Yeah, there absolutely are. They're going to get the K'Sante for Sheer, so give him some team fight setup, some kind of splitting of that comp. And guess what? They're saving that counter pick for Jwei. He wants to see everything put out in front of him before he chooses what he wants to go with. And NIP need to round out their comp. They need some sort of hyper carry for Leave. If he's not on one, I will be extremely upset, and we could see NIP bow out early.
Yeah, we will see. It certainly is the comfort for him. It's going to be the Smolder locked in. Get ready, chat, to spam all of your copy pastas that you have available to you. Leave Smolder has been terrifying over the course of this year. It's been something that has won them multiple games, and they are really relying on it in this big moment. Top lane matters, I think, in terms of how this matchup goes. If you want to go for something more lane dominant, I think that's kind of a necessity. You need to have priority on the top side of the map, and they will try and get it with the Aatrox. Certainly a matchup that, at least from a scaling perspective, you'd favor. Yes. I
really like Solokill. Let's go! The Jwei Zed. He says, I am putting you in the dirt, NIP. Leave was wrong. Doinb doesn't matter if he's a world champion. And Naiyou, you're going to learn today, little kid, as that is a massive Chad pick for Jwei. Stone cold as ever and looking to bring FPX over the finish line.
And that really kind of stabilizes what this comp wants to be. You've got a mid jungle that's super proactive for FPX, the double assassin duo. If you run in to these two at any point in the mid game, you are dead. There is no way to deal with that. Ahri's pick potential alongside Zed damage is unstoppable. And then look at the late game from FPX as well. You've got a K'Sante paired with a Kai'Sa. There's so much going on here for FPX. Ninjas in Pyjamas, it's a smolder game. If they can get Leave into a good spot, they can still win. But boy, does that top side need to win early.
Raise the puppy in NIP's favor here. The Smolder will get to a place of promise, but it has to be built off of this mid-jungle duo that has been so potent for NIP, that has led to them being the kings of Group Nirvana. What does that mean at this point if you don't show up?
It means everything. Like, this is the shot for not just, Group Nirvana, but, all these teams that consider themselves underdogs. And, for NIP, this is their last chance to really solidify themselves. All the expectations, all the hype, all of the momentum, it all comes to a conclusion right now.
It does. We've got a lot of weight on some of the carry shoulders. Doinb on his Akali of old at this point. Leave on that hyper carry we said we wanted him on. The level of execution is definitely going to need to be there. I want to see map control come through for NIP, but this team that when Doinb joined, all of a sudden became a competitor coming into 2025, could see themselves bow out of back-to-back splits against the same opponent. A legendary story that would be for FPX on the other side, who have used a lot of this momentum they've gained, or at least not had, out of nowhere in this series. A team that was so down in the dumps at the end of Group Ascend is finding that fire within them through JiaQi, and it's been impressive to watch.
Let's give this organization all the credit for looking at the situation they had found themselves in and saying, we're not good enough for what our expectations are. We need to make changes, whether that, was replacing IYY, mid-split, obviously multiple times, or, even just after split number 2, going and saying, okay, well, we're going to bring JiaQi in. We're going to trust in the fact that he's going to be able to elevate the team. We're going to let Shadow, go to a team like BLG. We're going to make the changes we feel we need to make in order to make this team as strong as possible. And you have to commend an organization for attempting to be someone that can compete, looking at themselves and saying, we're not good enough, we can get better, and then going out and really proving it in a series like this.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, like, FPX were able to cut their teeth on so many strong opponents, see how the game should be played at the highest level, and now it seems like they've learned a lot of lessons there. JiaQi on a Zed. I'm so happy to see this kind of performance, but it's also a position that NIP can take full advantage of if they get out ahead of it. If they can find a way to stop this FPX momentum. Doinb versus his old org. Can he put the carry pants on here and be that super carry we know him to be? Game 4, do or die for NIP. The amount of times.
This is it.
Yeah. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, this is do or die. And we already see some trading. Some electrocutes procced. Doinb gonna get double electrocuted there at the start of this. Certainly a bit of damage, but I think it's a great highlight to talk about Doinb because, I mean, this entire conversation revolves around him. You're talking about a Ninjas in Pyjamas team that has specialized in playing around this guy throughout the entirety of the year. And now you're looking at this pivotal game for what could be their last game of the entire year. And you get Doinb's Akali into a Zed Ahri matchup. I mean, it's just about as poetic as you could ask for. And I just can't wait to see if he can step up today or not.
Yeah, it's also just a situation that's like, he's been stepping up. He's had some really good games so far in this series. And he's just tired of being in a back foot position. And he's going to need to make sure to pay that off here in this game number 4. We'll see how this all pans out. Both junglers, they're going to be pathing opposite sides here.
Yeah, standard start here for both of these junglers. No real surprises. Zed just wants to clear as fast as possible up to the top side. Jarvan going to be a little bit more lax in terms of the pacing he goes by. Jwei taking a lot of damage in this trade. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for the Bard, but I definitely want to make sure that you're playing it a little bit smarter here for those level 3 trades in particular.
Yeah.
But Man, this bot lane, like, this is the conversation, right? When you look at the game 2 that NIP won, it was Leave and Niket who stepped up. And when you look at FPX's bot lane, you know, JiaQi and Jwei, despite the roster changes, have kind of been the consistently good pieces for FPX throughout all of this year.
Yeah.
Naiyou now looking potentially in the jungle here.
He did just use the flag and drag. He's waiting in the bush. Oh, the smite's gone.
Oh, no.
JJ, he's going to get it stolen away from him, and now he might die. This is the only piece that could work out. JJ barely makes it out alive.
Yeah, that is catastrophically bad, though.
Oh, JJ.
For the
oh,
Zed,
JJ.
no way.
No, JJ. No. No. He's just backing by vision. Oh, man.
It's a nightmare for JJ. It's about as bad of a start as is possible on this Zed. It's a free donated kill to the Jarvan. You lose your red buff. This is really bad for JJ moving forward. There's no way for him to be able to contest on the bottom side of the map. He's just going to have to live with this disadvantage. And you want to talk about the world champion difference, unfortunately not going in favor of FPX right now.
You can't do that. You literally cannot do that. That is so tough, especially when you have the team on the ropes. Now we're getting the heal on the bot side. A little bit of play in the 2v2 action. FPX are stepping forward. JJ in trouble. Be very careful. He does get a little bit of latent damage from Niket. That is going to be full prio for NIP on bot side. Naiyou is down here as well.
He is yet to even clear his bot side jungle. He's sitting at level 3, and they're looking for a dive.
They want to try to get down JiaQi, and he will be able to make it out. He did have the flash and the barrier. As low health Jwei will end up backing in the bush there. He's going to make it out alive for that one. So far, now JJ looking for his own advantage. Really needs to set himself up for success here. He's trying to get a dive on a Doinb, and Kare's going to get this crash in.
This is such a tough play to make.
They have to execute it. He stepped over. He's going to die. He gets the flash out too. Beautifully executed from FPX.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Doinb. He steps basically in the exact wrong spot to avoid that dive. No way he could have really known that that was incoming, but very nice counterplay by FPX to really get JJ back on the board.
That's going to feel a little bit bad. But immediately going to the typing is Doinb. You know him, getting all those timers out of the pinchers. But unfortunately, there were no summoner spells burned from the side of FPX. So, you know, it's going to be okay. In the end, it's just that little bit of an advantage given back over to JJ, which maybe isn't the exact person you want to give, but the dueling of these two junglers will be extremely important as Naiyou going down towards bot does also have Niket in tow to try to get this gank. Oh,
this is a free one if they're this forward.
Yeah, there's been some really questionable decisions. The magical journey. Oh my God, Jwei his bar just paid off instantly 5 minutes in.
It's massive from Jwei, but it's Naiyou just not being in range to land the flag and drag knockup onto the bard. It's really onto the Kaisa, I should say, that really creates all that. I'm just not able to connect on the ability. Still pushing forward, realizes that they just don't really have the damage to push him out of here. And IP can play really aggressive.
Oh, he gets the smite. Okay, Gromp is going to go the way of JJ. He's still healthy. Going to go for it. Naiyou, I don't think you can do that, bud.
He's
got one more plasma stacks. They're going to bring over Kare. Kare's going to instantly ult. He's level 6. Doinb does have his perfect execution. Flash play. He doesn't get him. Kare's in trouble. JiaQi one auto down. And it's going to be the perfect execution from Doinb that gets one. Looking for a double for super carry. Doinb doesn't get it, but it's going to go to leave anyways. Feats of strength completed for NIP.
Everybody just causing chaos everywhere on the Rift right now.
Warfare.
A kill donated to leave? That's insane. That is so good for NIP in terms of how that setup ends up going. JiaQi, no sums. Kare, no sums. The flash, unfortunately, just not enough to be able to get in range to, you know, take that kill. But we're going to get a replay of how this whole thing happened. We're really going to get it from, I guess, the Kare start onwards. Naiyou being able to flash out of the way of the charm and of the damage. Kare at this point in a terrible position. He was always going to trade 1-for-1, which is already very scary. But yeah, JiaQi looking a little bit terrified. Unfortunately, Doinb not able to pick that one up. Leave will say thank you very much on this folder, and
I think that's
we'll be in a pretty good spot. 1K gold lead for NIP.
Feeling really good. The early game looking good. They're looking at that long scaling game from Leave, but if they have some advantages in this mid-jungle duo, it can just make them so deadly on the map itself. Now, Dragon is up. It is an internal Dragon early. We do have Grubs in about a minute. I do wonder if we're going to see a trade from the team.
We have been seeing Dragon prioritize more than normal in this series, especially from FPX, who have been very willing to take it on a timer. It's not quite as good this game, timer-wise. If you do end up committing to the bot side here, you will be foregoing any sort of pressure on the grubs, and so the decision definitely needs to be made. Pings going down from both sides onto the bot side, and right now, just going to be that vision control. FPX realizing they don't want to full commit to this.
So far, neither team really feeling super confident to take that forward step in those objectives, but I think that might differ once we get those grubs spawned, although neither team's really in position to start those on spawn, which is a bit of a weird oddity, I guess, since that has been kind of the timer that LPL has been consistently going for, as Naiyou will take the first dragon. No contest coming out from FPX.
Yeah, this is available because of the setup in the mid lane, I should say, from Doinb, who's got the wave crash. He's able to move towards this play to basically make it happen for free. There's no way you can trade priority on the top side of the map because Zed had spent so much time on the bot lane here. So it is just a free dragon for NIP, and they really are running this early game. They have a pretty big lead right now.
They do. They've been constantly going to this bot side here. A lot of pings coming down.
JiaQi.
Oh, JiaQi gonna dodge out a little bit here. The Naiyou coming to finish him. Cataclysm in. Mom comes to help, but JiaQi buying a lot of time here. He's gonna try to turn back on the lead. Finally gets the kill. Doinb coming in for 2. Doesn't end up getting that one, but gives it over to Niket. Care does use his Spirit Rush to get away.
Yeah, it's just utter domination coming in here from Ninjas in Pyjamas, understanding that we can dive this bot lane over and over again. Before Jwei hits level 6, there's really no way for them to counter that, especially if Care is going to be late on a lot of these roams. So JiaQi not able to play, and a lot of free gold going into the pocket of Ninjas in Pyjamas.
And expert uses of the most busted mechanic in League of Legends right now in the cannon minion Swaparuni from Niket. But hey, it's in the game. It's possible. It works right now. And you got to use it if it's there. Although the free grubs do go the way of FPX, that will be a permanent buff for them in the future.
Yeah, this Nico champion is a little bit funny in terms of just how much he is capable of doing.
That happens to this champion. He had the glitch of the backing clone that would just stay there like permanently and provide vision. You had like every single time. The fact that she still can flash Pop Blossom is insane after Galio just got that ripped from him.
It is definitely a bit of a champ that's been tough to balance, if I'm trying to be political about maybe the way that I word that. I can see the balance troubles with the kit that they've given Nico, but at the end of the day, if you can utilize it, you can utilize it. We've seen many teams have success and also not have success with the champ there. Taking a trade, Jia is here, but Doinb's not really in all that much danger. This is going to be just a shadow, I think.
And that's where I think the story of JiaQi coming into this team is so important to focus on. But I also look at a lot of the other pieces that have stepped up in moments, and they didn't win a lot of games in Group Ascent, but especially in this series, we've seen a lot of coordination from this squad. And I think in this game we haven't seen it as much in this earlier game, but it's not that big of an advantage for NIP. I mean, 2,000 gold is great. There is a lot of those scaling options you were talking about in draft from FPX's side. So I really need to see NIP continue to kind of push this lead forward.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give up on this draft. You still have a ton of scaling from FPX. I still think they'll win in the late game with all the damage they have. But, again, this is everything for NIP.
This is everything.
And you know what? Like, it's not even just for NIP. I think it's fair to say, like, we have never felt this close to a Group Nirvana team being better than Group Ascent team. Even going back to last year, this was the opportunity. And if they're going to, fall in 4 games here, then we're gonna have to start rethinking some conversations. They still are in a very good spot, but a lot on the line, a lot of pressure for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, I mean, ever since this format change has come into effect, and Nirvana team has never beat a Group Ascent team to make it in the playoffs. It's an important factor here, and we thought maybe this could be the one. There's going to be trades for the turrets. We are going to get the dual vision here. Solokill comes over into a 1v3, now a 2v3 is Sheer.
Sheer.
He goes all out on the other side of the fight. Oh my god, Care misses another charm. I don't think he's hit a single one in these fights yet. Still does have Spirit Rush 2 available, as now Solokill goes in with the World Ender. Naiyou finds himself on the wrong side of the fight, goes back over, Cataclysm over, and he was just baiting them out as a charm connects. Solokill might give his life. He isn't going to go down just yet. NIP make it out. They've burned Summoner spells aplenty, but they don't give over any kills.
Yeah, and they burn so much from FPX. They basically have to use everything to try to make that play happen, and yet they're not able to pick anything up. Those are a lot of resources that can be used to fight over the objective spawning soon. 1 minute on this Cloud Dragon, and you do need to start paying attention to that to stop the stacking of these grades. We can see the play happening here. FPX just want to overload on the top side. They want to take advantage of the fact that Solokill and Naiyou are here alone. They know that they have Jwei coming up, but again, the charm missing from Care is absolutely massive. It means there's basically no follow-up on this play. You need to wait for the Bard, and then Sheer goes in. Jwei ends up ulting Naiyou, but no one is here to follow up in terms of the damage, and it's really well played from Naiyou to keep himself in a safe spot to lock the rest of the team in the Cataclysm. And Solokill even with the flash.
Yeah, that like, kind of cerebral play from Naiyou was actually insane. Like, just walking up there to pull all the attention and just go all the way back down to the turret and hopefully single somebody out who wasn't ready for it. I think those kinds of moments are huge, but as you said, Dragon coming up. Now another time for NIP to step up to the plate here. Although I will say, it looks like FPX might be on this side of the map for this one.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one that you have to contest for. But again, so many resources used in that previous fight. You have no flash on Ahri. I think that's really the key one. No flash on Jwei either. So some aggressive plays could still be made, but if they're made, then you might be a little bit scared. NIP are going to feel comfortable walking up. Naiyou is at the very least going to check the Dragon with the flag here. See if he starts it up. He does. Doesn't look like FPX even want to try to contest. They're going to overload once again on the top side and potentially look for solo kill.
Okay, well, they have Tempered Fate stuff now, so they may be able to take this one down. No flash on Solokill either, but Solokill played extremely safely. They're going to also lose mid. JiaQi forced to flash out, and Niket gets the double teamo thumbs up from him. Still gets hit by the Tangle Barb in the end, by the way. And even more plays go in the way of NIP as turrets finally fall in favor of FPX, but they are still down monumentally in this gold lead. 3,000 gold 14 minutes in.
This is undoubtedly the best early game Ninjas and Pyjamas have had this entire series. They've been able to control basically every play that's made. Doinb now.
Oh, Care in a lot of trouble. It gets perfectly executed, and he dies to Mom. The helpful call is Jie going for Doinb. JiaQi is here with the killer instinct. Gets one kill, at least two. Jie. Tempered Fate's going to go wide on leave. They could have followed it up if they wanted to, but that's the power potential to Kaisa and a comfort pick for JiaQi.
Ends up just being a one-for-one trade, but definitely a one-for-one trade that I think you are okay with. It is another kill onto the Zed, and so it can be a little bit scary, but yeah, donating kills to Smolder feels good, and now Jie, with as low as he is and as much as he's getting chunked out, that mid lane tier 1 will evaporate.
Yeah, and leave getting any kind of resources. I mean, he's back to a hyper carry. The gen was just a stop off, and we see him getting kills here, but Doinb is the one that sets this up.
Yeah, I mean, he's on fire right now on this Akali after being set behind early. He is determined to still have an impact on this one. Just perfectly played, donated perfectly right into Mom there. Does have to expend a lot of his resources to do so. Once again, burns the flash in maybe a situation where he's already dead, but you can't complain too much. It is, at the end of the day, a one-for-one. NIP are going to start and take this Rift Herald, and I think the one thing I really want to call out, 161 stacks on this Smolder. We are getting dangerously close already to a very strong ADC.
Yeah, it's actually so incredibly fast. We're 15 and a half minutes in. He will be getting there closer and closer, and I think that's really important to highlight in terms of these next fights as well. Some of the single target selection that can come through from NIP just makes it so hard for FPX to deal with. Where we can start calling into question some of the team comp. Like the Zed, it's a cool pick. Is it the stable piece that you need for this comp? I don't think so. But second item is already there for Leave. He's got the rapid fire cannon now, and NIP are going to take down the final outer turret of FPX.
Yeah, will fall, I believe, here, unless... Yeah, I was going to say, unless something catastrophic happens, it will fall. Winions once again taking some towers, but really at this point for FPX, you know, as much as I'd like to say that they're, you know, scaling and that they, you know, could theoretically play out this late game better, which I do believe is possible for them, I think it's become very difficult. Luckily, I think the gold is on the Zed, who's probably one of the more consistent pieces. If you can get a bit of gold onto Kaisa, onto JiaQi, I think that could really be the thing that ends up, you know, fixing things. We've seen a lot of chaotic fights over the course of this series.
Yeah.
You know, one more and, you know, anything is possible.
You can pick out the Smolder, maybe that's the case. Maybe something like that happens, but yeah, there's a massive level differential happening right now across the map and in favor of NIP. About 2 minutes for that next dragon would be sole point for NIP. Gives them so much decision-making power, and on top of that, they have the Rift Herald, so they could use that. Although they don't have any outer turrets to play towards, they could pull the ire of FPX into one of the lanes ahead of that objective.
probably going to need to do that because you really need to make sure that you can separate key pieces here. If you actually want to fight front to back as consistently as possible. You know, what does Zed already do at a high level? Find picks. And you need to start looking for those picks if you can continue to, you know, slowly chip away at that gold lead. You don't need it all to happen in one, you know, fail swoop. If you can find a couple of aggressive plays that you want to look for, you know, that definitely is the avenue back into this game, but it's got to happen soon. We're getting closer and closer to the stage where you can basically just force any 5v5 you want if you're NIP, so.
And isn't this just fate at this point? I mean, last split we saw it go all the way to 5, and it feels like we might be getting that again here for our first playoff play-in slot.
Yeah, this is just how these two teams are going to interact with each other. These two orgs that have put in so much. 2 different world champions, multiple players that have played together and played in the same org before, and you know, all of these narratives, of course, you know, you're able to know your opponent enough to really create these contested matchups, but it's going to be the Herald that's dropped here on the bot side for NIP. 40 seconds until Dragon spawns. They just want to use this to get this tower.
Tempervey going to come in, and they knew as he's going to save it. He's going to walk it back over and get the late engage into the turret. Another charm goes wide from Care. He's going to get all these stacks, and now he all instantly has his execute. He's just going to be ripping through them. Leave just setting them down here as he almost executes one of them there. He is so damn close, and Leave is online.
Yeah, I think the Dragon has gotten a little bit terrifying here. Leave is able to completely delete every single member of FPX. You cannot play front to back anymore. And we're seeing that teleport coming in from Sheer.
Double.
And Care.
Yeah, they've got this flank going. They feel like they can take this fight, though. Care. He's waiting on the flanks. He's going to get caught out here. He needs to be very careful. Stops the back from Doinb. The flag and drag goes down. He loses half his health. Sheer goes for the Q3. Sheer by himself now. Solokill coming around for the kill. Pop Blossom flash that play, but he dodges. JiaQi just completely breaks Niket's ankles. As now Solokill is trying to get away from the other side here. Leave, stepping up, hit the Q. It's so deadly if he does. Doinb misses the Shuriken Blitz. Charm, and Care, all he has to do is hit one. Solokill's going on to JiaQi. Cataclysm on the 3 members now. Leave is trying to be the hyper carry dragon we know him to be, and he's going to find one. He got the execute on that one. He's going to look for another. Is this the pentakill play for him? The flashes coming through. Mom has been unleashed once again. Solokill can't find Sheer in the end. He should get out of this one. The Q sweet spot, and Lee's trying to come over. They're going to go in. Unstoppable, but the charm misses. Temper Fate going wide, and Leave is just rinsing the entirety of FPX. JiaQi, he's going down too. Leave is untouchable, unstoppable, and 6-0 on the Smolder.
It's a certified Smolder moment in this fight. It looks doomed for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's perfectly played at the start by FPX. They balance all of the engage about as well as you can, but the problem comes down to when you can kill everyone except for the carry. It does not matter. We're at a point in this fight. Care ends up chunking out Naiyou for a lot of his health bar, and once he full engages here, Sheer actually has a pretty nice avenue to set up a line, perimeter line, if you will. Once Niket ends up whiffing the engage, great job by JiaQi, by the way, to really negate that in terms of, you know, using that invulnerability. Niket goes down, and this 4v5 looks winnable. Care is able to, you know, kind of disrupt what Doinb wants to do. The dash isn't there anymore. The point-blank charm is going to land, but Solokill is still alive, and I think that's really the pivotal piece. Despite the fact that Naiyou goes down here, so many resources are used, and Aatrox and Smolder are the scariest members of this comp. If Leave gets the free hit on the backline, it's huge. We get one charm miss, and that's a very consequential one. If he hits that, the fight is instantly won for FPX, but it's okay because he's on a good flank angle, and he gets another one. It's another charm miss, and then the Tempered Fate goes wide.
I can't, dude. Oh, like, I feel so bad. Care has missed like 90% of his charms this game, and if you're gonna pick a skill-based champion, you gotta hit the damn ability, man. Actually insane, and Leave is just weaving around them. For a guy that has had such a troubled history this last year, finally finding a place that feels like accentuates his abilities on NIP.
Yeah, and as much as we can, you know, clown a bit on Care missing every charm in that fight, Leave's sidesteps were brilliant in that fight as well. Like, his positioning was about as good as you could possibly ask for on the Smolder. It's definitely worth giving him a lot of credit. But here we have another exchange.
He does hit the charm on Naiyou, but he's very tanky now. The Redemption is going to buy a lot of time.
Solokill is not here. Aatrox is walking his way down. Their teleport is available if they need it, but right now, it is FPX just trying to push NIP out.
NIP feeling confident. I mean, they have Leave very strong. He's on 3 items now. He completed that IE. He will one big Q ricochets on the team, and it is GG. They try to catch him, but look at that. That was 1 hit.
This is so hard to play for FPX. You feel like you can step up because you're 4v5, but this team disengages so effectively, and Leave can poke you out so easily. Doinb!
Jwei, he's going to use Mystical Journey. Oh, Doinb gets killed by JiaQi, and the Uzi Wolves come to claim Doinb from the depths.
Yeah, I mean, it's an overstep. It's Jwei, you know, kind of baiting the Akali in a little bit, and the damage is coming down. It's a charm that ends up landing that is really, really important. It's nice to be able to pull that back. Not the most consequential kill of all time. It's not like the game state is entirely twisted or anything, but certainly nice to be able to punish a mistake there coming in from Doinb. And we talked about this. Doinb is the player who has to step up. He's playing this flashy Akali, and quite frankly, this game, it's not always been there. His team's in a good spot anyways, but you know, we'll see how he can end it.
All right, so let's talk brass tacks here. Setups for both teams. We've already talked so much about Leave being this hyper carry. I mean, he is online. He will continue to get stronger. On the other side, who are we looking at? I mean, Doinb has been non-impactful, at least in these last little moments, but are you hoping and relying on that single target focus for FPX?
I'll answer your question in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to get Mom almost eviscerate Jwei by herself, by the way, and Leave is now looking to rip through them. The Magical Journey will get them out. Care barely surviving, while Doinb is probably not going to survive. Actually, he gets back. Oh my god, does he actually get away? No, okay. He's going to get flashed on by Naiyou just to make sure. And now, NIP are actually going to move down mid. And Leave, he's going to catch him. He gets him. Execution. As the Magical Journey comes through, Leave, he wants the final kill. He's going to flash. He gets it. Another execution, and Leave gets a double kill. That's mid lane push for NIP, and it looks like we're going to 5K, man.
And just like that, the game is done. Leave with like 5 solo kills this game on the Smolder completely takes over, and NIP run this game in game number 4.
They're going to try to push this one in. They've got such an advantage. 24 minutes in, they're about to finish. It's such a blistering pace for them that looked so dead in game number 3. Sheer's about to go down 2. They see the Nexus in their eyes. They see the final moment. NIP's year will not be denied. The super carry Doinb, he didn't show up, but super carry Leave did. This dragon is big, and so is NIP. It's destiny to go to 5 between these two teams with their year on the line. We get silver scrapes one last time for NIP, and FPX a quadra kill for Leave.
Oh, Mazel, we knew we were in for a good one today. We knew we had a good series between these two teams, but we couldn't have expected it to go like this. NIP striking back with the most dominant game of the entire series in Game 4, looking phenomenal.
Leave throwing up the 2018 EDG emote as it goes down. He knows all the drama. It's real, it's there, and it's all down to this one final game between these two teams for their year.
I mean, could you ask for more? Winner gets to go to playoffs and really, you know, kind of asserts themselves with the roster changes they've made as being smart and successful orgs, and the other one has to go home with their tail tucked between their legs, not being able to get through play-ins. Everything is on the line for such established players here today. I'm just so excited for Game 5.
There was a reason why we said this could be the opportunity for Nirvana to finally win a series against Group Ascend, to knock them down. And we only have two possibilities here now in a 3-2 either way.
Hey, we will see. I've still got my prediction hanging on. I've still got it hanging on. NIP keep it alive, but oh, we've got some late movement coming in.
Some wild movement.
That's
it was
very,
always there. What are you talking about? No, it was always there.
That's my bad. I didn't actually see anything. That's on me. But no, I mean, I had to believe that these two teams were going to have this kind of fiery back and forth. There's so many players to point out on both sides that have so much to play for, but the world champions on both sides have just been so important towards their team success. Jia being able to elevate FPX so late into the split, and Doinb stepping up. You know, some Akali plays in this game that we can overlook, but only one of them will be moving forward.
Yeah, the fact that Leave was unkilled, a statement game from him as well. I just think why go for that Jhin? I love Jhin so much, but you see the difference that this NIP team is when they have this structure of mid jungle, blistering pace early, get the advantages, and build that bridge for Leave, who you know can be a hyper carry. There's a reason why this guy was a prodigy coming out of EDG Youth, and even though those stories didn't work out for him, he maybe has the last laugh here with this one if they take down FPX.
He will certainly have a chance to do so. Only thing I'll say about Leave here, hyper carries, kind of gone. A lot of them are off the board.
Jinx?
So, yeah,
Senna?
Jinx is kind of the next one. Senna is getting banned. I'm not, no spoilers. I'm making a bit of a prediction here. I don't think Senna is getting through draft, but you're right. Like Yunara, if it gets through, Tristana, I think you could be looking at, like, the pool has, become really shallow, and that's what makes this best of 5 so fun, is you have teams that really did have established playstyles coming into this series with a huge chance to break that narrative, to kind of turn everything around, and it's going to lead to one person being a hero. Oh my god.
If you needed a statement from Leave, there it is, baby. I mean, that is a 1v9 performance from him. He had his stacks so early. They literally forced those fights on bot lane constantly to get him more stacks. And I love that kind of utilization, that realization of the strategy you have to employ.
I just want to remind everyone that this was a 25-minute game.
Yep.
That 40,000 damage happened in 25 minutes. That,
yep.
Just is what it is.
50% of his team's damage, by the way. That might be the most of the split.
I can't think of a time in any region that it's been that high throughout this year. I might be proven wrong on that, but I mean, that's just utterly ridiculous. And it all really did start with this phenomenal game plan, early game from NIP. This is what you draft Nico for. Dive over and over and over again. This Kai'Sa gets set so far behind Leave, gets donated 2 kills in the early game for free. And from that point, the Smolder just gets to scale. If you can keep this guy alive, look at this.
Riot Games, please. Take it out of the game, man. It's disgusting. You should not be able to do that. Anyways, excellent use of a broken mechanic from FPX. But honestly, it's an incredible setup for them because it definitely was a realigning of what can work. And you take all those skirmishes because you're constantly, continuously getting these stacks going for Smolder. I mean, he had 225 so early into this 25-minute game. And it still feels really nice to see some of this wiggle room that NIP have afforded themselves now going to a game 5, going to the ultimate part of this series itself against an opponent they know well.
Yeah, not to make an old comparison, game 1 feels forever ago, but Leave got 225 stacks on Smolder 6 minutes earlier than Doinb stacked his Roa in game 1. That's where we were at. that's where we were at in terms of how game 4 went. So, a lot going on. I think really when you're looking towards game 5, it all really just comes down to who do you trust to carry? I think Leave has to be a priority. He's been excellent in this series, genuinely has been the player to step up, but this jungle matchup, we've highlighted it all day long, and this is really the one that I think will determine Game 5. Can Naiyou survive against Jeja, or will that world champ difference really come back in Game 5?
And that's one of the wildest things about that is we are in a tight-knit series between what is and was one of the best junglers at one time in the LPL, and maybe even the world, if he has a world championship versus this up-and-comer Naiyou who's really been making his way for this NIP team and being a big part to how they have launched themselves to success in Group Nirvana. And now we get a game number 5. We got to give it away an MVP here first and foremost. It's Leave. I'm sorry. Nobody else gets any kind of mention. Nobody else was even close. The spotlight was completely on the man in the bot lane, and he made his statement all right. In a game where there's so much drama behind the scenes, so many things overarching, you got to buckle up and play when it matters most. NIP stepped up, and they did deliver themselves to a Game 5.
Yeah, I mean, clutch moments. Clutch moments come from clutch players, and I think we just saw that, from NIP in Game 4. Will they be able to translate that? I'm not expecting 50% damage, in game number 5 from Leave, but he is on fire today. You want to play the hot hand. It's absolutely the bot laner that has really cemented himself as one of the players to watch in the LPL.
And maybe we can have Kai, our producer, check on Alk Battery behind the scenes with all the love that he shows to leave. Got to check on his heart palpitations now after that performance for sure. But this gives... I'm not going to repeat what Alk Battery just said behind the scenes, but you can guess what it could be. But in the end, it is a situation where both teams have one game left, an entire year. I don't know if you saw some of those tweets going on, but the amount of games that the LPL plays comparatively to every other region, I mean, it's like 2 or 3 times a lot of the Western regions in the LEC and the LTA. And to have all of that year, all of that growth, all that time spent on the Rift and off the Rift come down to one game, that's a lot of pressure.
I mean, you wouldn't know it by looking at Jia. He's stone-faced, walking out onto the stage. He feels so cool, calm, and collected. And again, it just goes to show who these players are. These aren't just, yes, this is a one-win team for FPX, and this is a team in Ninjas in Pyjamas that was coming out of, Group Nirvana. These are not players that, have little experience at this level. There are players that you would never expect to miss out on playoffs in a series like this. And all of their season comes down to this, all of the work coming down to one game. It's all just about who can keep that morale on them.
There you go. Leave 50% damage done. 12-0-3. An incredible statement game from the carry of NIP.
I think the fight that really encapsulates what happened for him this game was what looked like a free FPX win, and yet Leave just gets the free hit on the backline. He ends up picking up almost 4 or 5 solo kills throughout this game, just by himself. It truly was a 1v9 type of performance from Leave, and if he's going to play like that, NIP are in good spot.
It's crazy that happened in a game 4 too. What do we make of a game 5 here? What the hell happens now? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. We will on the other side of Silver Scrapes. Will the one-win series team be able to beat the team that only lost a single series in their group? We'll have game 5 right after